So welcome everybody back to our Masterclass for our B.U.L.D Association members. Appreciate each and every one of you joining today. We have some members also who are listening on Instagram as well as YouTube just to get a taste and seeing what our Masterclasses are all about. So you guys, the members, you guys commenting, you guys putting questions down into the chat and communicating with each other is going to get to show exactly what this Masterclass is all about. What's so fun about today's Masterclass? We were just talking with the other members right before we started the session, and a few members were actually telling us about how when you come into contracting, your mindset has to shift because we are so used to, I just got to complete the work and I'm going to be successful. In reality, we're going to start to see how a lot of things when it comes to contracting have nothing to do with the physical work you have to do. Today's lesson, we're going to go over some finance tips, and those lessons are actually going to be helping you, once again, to reemphasize the focus that you need to put into your business. The work, the constructing, the physical aspect of showing up every day is only 10 to 20% of your actual business. The back end office work, the mindset that you need to have as the leader of that company is ultimately going to decide if you're going to succeed and or fail when it comes to contracting. And so many of those mind shift changes clash with us as contractors. Because remember, we weren't good students. We didn't like to sit down and just work a 9 to 5 in a little cubicle. We think a different way. We're more physical. We're more personable. A lot of us, true or not, you guys say, if I show up to a job site and walk a job with a customer, 9 times out of 10, I got the job because I understand what's going on. I know how to communicate. I love to be in the field. That's true. That's awesome. So when it comes to the business side and saying, hey, you're not doing good, that hits us. That's a little pride. That's a little ego hitting us because we're so used to being a micromanager, or we like things done a specific way, or we just don't like to fail. Or let's say, hey, you have to do this way rather than that way. That also clashes with us because we're not used to thinking in different scenarios. We are literally, we show up, we get paid, we do good work. It's simple, it's meat and potatoes, right? So when it goes home, when it's time to go home, when it's time to sit down and balance the books, when it's time to, hey, where are we currently right now? That is a mind shift change that usually clashes with people because we don't understand what we don't know. So this lesson today, we're going to take another mind shift change, a perspective shift when it comes to finances. So we already saw the physical work is only 10 to 20% of the business, and it has to do with a mind shift change. How are we going to have that mind shift change when it comes down to finances? That's why this class is so exciting, because the book of the month that we're going to be reviewing, that I want you guys to, whenever you have the opportunity to jump into, it's called Profit First. This is literally telling you what you have to do to shift your mindset. And it's funny how life tells you to handle finances in a specific order, in a specific way. But today you're going to see how that shift in your mindset, and when you apply it to running your business, is completely different. And now we're going to break it down, because what happens when individuals come into contracting, they start seeing the work. They start seeing the money. They don't know how to manage that money. Or they decide they want to start growing their business and they scale too fast. Remember, all of these classes are for that fundamentals. It's all that foundation that you need to build your business on. If you want to grow it, awesome. If you don't, awesome, you can be more efficient. So that mindset that you have to have when it comes to this lesson, when it comes to finances, when it comes to your mindset, you're going to see how it all blends together, and I can't wait to share it with each and every one of you guys. So today, we're going to be understanding the financial clarity when it comes to our masterclass for the month of May. So if you guys have your workbooks, you guys can follow along. May's masterclass theme, it's financial management basics, budgeting, prices, profit margins. Today we're going to talk about these avenues, but once again, we're not going to go into specifics because everybody runs their business differently. Everybody has a different overhead. Everybody has different prices. So all those factors, all those topics are for you to do your research on, for you to develop for your own team. At the same time, ask the questions today in class so we can give you the tools, the resources, what you need to figure out the right numbers for your prices. And I'm actually excited to give a special announcement today in 2 parts. The first one is another tool and resource that you guys have being a part of the B.U.L.D Association that you can help you do all this back-end office work with the lesson plans without having to do all that research, without having to go through the months of paying another consultant. All of these things are going to be available to you guys completely for free because it's a part of your membership. And we just want to say thank you. And all we ask in return is give us the feedback, because this is an ever-growing beta version. So whatever information you guys give it to us so we can apply it. And at the same time, we can keep growing. So I'm going to now move the slide on the Zoom just so you guys can follow along appropriately. So financial management basics, budgeting, pricing, and profit margins. Today, our breakdown, as typical, we go over the 15-45 set. And why are we breaking it down in 4 points? Because us as contractors, we don't sit still. Very good. You know, we like to change it up. So the first 15 minutes, we're gonna get the book, the homework stuff out of the way, just so you guys can follow through. But once we get into that, we jump into the next 45 minutes. So as we were mentioning before, we're gonna jump into reading and understanding the book of Profit First. If you guys read it, awesome. If you guys haven't, plan this for the month of May when it comes to finances, how we're gonna break it down. All right, Profit First. So today, our mission, by the end of today's lesson, we're gonna understand your financial blind spots that we face. And it comes down to charging enough or not knowing your numbers and not planning ahead. That's typically what we see. We think once we start making money, that money's gonna be here forever. And we know it's a roller coaster. Or we think we're gonna hit it big and we bank on a big job and then it doesn't land. So all of these are different scenarios. All of this is different things that we gotta keep in mind as contractors. How we're gonna adjust, how we're gonna budget, how we're gonna price for it. Remember, a lot of us price as if we're still doing side work. But what are your numbers? What's your operating costs? What's your bottom line? What's your bottom line when it comes to profit and expenditures? And then you have that in-between window where you get to start having fun and start moving numbers around, and then you can start seeing your business grow in the longer term. So with all that in mind, let's jump into today's book assignment. So when we start talking about Profit First, we're gonna start talking about the different mindset shift that you guys are gonna need as contractors. So in my notes for Profit First, we're gonna talk about how profit is typically, when it comes to us, true or not, when we get paid, we remove expenditures, and then profit for us as contractors is typically what's left over. How do you guys typically run your business? How do you guys typically run your expenses? I want to hear from you guys. If you guys want to unmute, is that typically how you go it? Or when you get, let's say, just an example of $100, how are you breaking down that $100 first? Any of our members available for that? Making sure the camera's still going. Can you guys hear me still online? Yeah. Appreciate you guys. So how do you guys typically, when you get paid, how do you handle those finances? How is it broken down? Do you guys already have a sequence, an order of operation?
I mean, for me, Will, I don't do any of that stuff anymore, but
yep.
As far as I know, we just deposit it,
yep.
pay bills, and that's it. Like, I don't know how much that 100 goes to this or goes to that, and that stuff.
That's fine. You're gonna see exactly why that's very important. But typically, you just hit it on the head. Can you guys see the board, what I wrote down? I wrote right on this side too. Right? Actually, let me write it in black, just so you guys can see it a little better. Revenue minus expenses equals profit. Typically, that's how we typically handle our expenses, or even as a business when we started off. True or not? Revenue comes in, we pay all the expenditures, and then we're left with our profit. True or not? That's typically how people go through life. And that's how much we're taught. When it comes to contracting, when it comes to business operations, this book helps you change your mindset. This profit is what's left over. So you're only able to grow based off of what's left over. Of course, now with systems, you can now bump this up because you're more efficient. Now with operating costs on check, you're now reducing this, which allows you to have more profit. I want you to shift your mind after reading this book, because this book tells you to do this. Revenue minus profit what's left over? Those funds are for your expenses. You see how different those two are, right? And you can say, this can freak a lot of people out. And you're saying, yo, bro, that's the stupidest financial advice you've ever given. Once again, I'm not a tax consultant. I'm telling you what, Myra. After reading that book, there's actually an organization. It's called the Profit First Accountants. And those are the ones that we're using for our financial planning actually right now. So they actually do all our numbers. They run all the numbers. They run all the figures, and they disperse all our money into our accounts based off of this formula. So let's say you bid a job for 20 to 30%, right? For profit margin. Cool, you pay yourself first. Boom, whatever is left over goes to your expenditures. What's the first argument you guys can say? Hey, this doesn't cover all my expenditures. The next question should be, why? Well, I guess I don't have enough money to pay my guys. So are you paying your guys too much? Or did you not price appropriately? Right? No, I was supposed to pay enough of my guys. I was supposed to get paid appropriately for the job. I bid it on all the numbers. So then where was your choke point? Oh, the job was 1 week that you bid for, and it took 2 weeks. You had to make 3 material runs, and you lost basically a half a day. The customer added a change order that you didn't invoice for appropriately. This formula, what I loved about it, of profit first, directly tells you where your bottleneck is. Because you as a business need profit to be sustainable, to have a backup reserve, to incentivize your guys, to actually plan for the future. Yet, the typical way we handle things is let profit be the end result after all your expenditures. So if your guys milked the job, if your guys weren't efficient, if you didn't properly explain to the customer, if you promised more work and you didn't invoice for it, your company suffers because you're just willingly paying those expenditures, and you're allowing those expenditures unchecked to continue to pile up, and you're just paying it off. And guess what? Then you suffer because that comes out of your profit. Does that make sense to you guys? Right off the bat. This avenue is typically scary for a lot of people, because then you are left with no money, but that no money, that frontal freaking slap in the face, is going to tell you where you have to make those changes right off the bat. If a job was planned the best way, priced out the best way, and guess what? You find out it had to do with your guys, then you can say, hey guys, this is what happened. I'm going to now use our savings that we saved up, because hopefully this has been going on for a while. So you have a cushion, pay it, but then say, hey guys, you're costing the business funds, and I can't keep these costs now. So if you have an employee who's actually draining money, why are you keeping that person? If you have different expenditures in the business, like a gym membership, spa membership, you're always doing pizza nights, you're always taking your guys out, even though they're important, but what's more important? Is it paying the spa day, the incentives, or is it payroll? This slapped me in the face when we started with the Profit First last year, because it told me all this stupid stuff I was wasting or unchecking because I didn't have systems right off the bat. And now I was basically the first 2 weeks, I was like, oh shoot, how do I pay my guys? Then she goes, of course, you got to take that from the profit, you know, because you saved it, the 20-30% right off the beginning. And now you can float it. But at the end of the day, to be long-term, to have long-term gain, to have long-term success, your shift should start going towards, how do I make this more efficient? Because I'm going to keep my 20-30%, but how do I make it more efficient so my expenditures are lower? We don't do that over here. We just pay it. Oh, the guys went and filled up their tank 2 times in a day. Why the hell are you filling up that much? Oh, well, they forgot the material. They had to make 3 different trips. Why are we making 3 different trips? Why didn't we price it out? Why didn't we account for all that material when we did the takeoff? Oh, I forgot. Oh, I was late. All this different stuff. Well, then fix that expenditure. But don't let that cost just keep happening day in, day out, day in, day out. And then it ultimately just affects you. And you're thinking, hey, I'm just left with whatever. You're doing your job. You're pricing out the right way. You should be taking care of that. But you see, that simple example of that mind shift is something that we're not used to. That is why I love the book Profit First. That is why we have it for the reading for this month when we talk about finances. And once again, at the end of the book, it tells you about different programs they have out there. If you want a Profit First accountant, you can actually hire them and they'll run you your entire business and financials and break it down with you with that type of mindset. But I highly recommend reading Profit First, guys. That changed my perspective on how money should be moved. Completely changed, because you're always going to keep your 20-30. You're always going to have the means to grow your business. Now, every one of us as a business owner sacrifices their own for the business. It's one thing, you here having 20 or 30% to give to your business rather than your business takes it from you. One of these avenues, you're in control. The other, you're not in control. You're in control here because it's your. Come again?
Get some of that vodka, right?
Oh, sorry. So over here, you're in control of your finances. Over here, you're a slave to your expenditures. Keep that in mind, guys. You're an owner of your finances. This side, you're a slave to your finances. Can't wait for you guys to jump into that book, Profit First. But now, we're going to jump into Module 1, Startup Cost and Burn Rates. This is where it starts getting fun, because this is where we start accounting for all your different expenditures. Remember, what do we see online? How much do you charge? How much should I price this job out? And what does everybody say? Oh, this is typically the price, this is typically the price, this is typically the price. But once again, we go down the rabbit hole of saying, hey guys, my numbers are different from your numbers. You should be able to understand what are those margins that affect your business so that you can keep doing the job the right way, and that is going to be beneficial for you so you don't have to worry about the competition. You should be battling yourself. So when it comes to this stuff, breaking down startup cost, burn rate, fixed versus variable expenses, and knowing your runway cost. Here is where I want to start showing you guys some exciting tools that we have prepared for you guys for the B.U.L.D Association. So I'm going to turn screen share off, and we're going to start breaking this down when it comes to our own new AI platform. So, if you guys are part of the B.U.L.D Association, you might have seen on our app, on the school page, our B.U.L.D Association. So, let me set this up so we can follow along together. So let's get this going right here, and then now we share screen. Oop. Let me know if that first part made sense to you guys. Did you guys understand it when it came to Profit First? that mind shift. Let's see. Boom. Share screen. Boom. So, if you guys go onto your school accounts, and if you log in, what will you guys see? So over here, we're gonna talk about AI. We're gonna check it out. So if you type in AI on your school account, you're gonna see this post. When was it posted? 28 days ago. So it's under our builder's discussion, and it's gonna take you to our post where we talk about a new tool that we have for you guys. So here at Energize Us, remember what we say. We're building builders, we're building leaders. And we understand as a goal that I want to be on every job site, but I understand I physically can't. I want to build with you guys. How can we make that possible? Well, if I can't be on every job site, we want to give you the tools and the resources that you need to continuously build and get better. So that's why we built our own AI platform. So we're building our own AI app. It's going to be one of a kind. No one has done it yet. We have CRM softwares out there. Once again, we talked about that last month. We have Jobber, we have HubSpot, we have Service Titan, House Call Pro. There's a whole bunch of different CRM platforms out there. But what do? They typically help you with the soft skill side of things. If you want to stay as a single solopreneur, what do you mean by that? There's some apps that help you, and they have team functions. Basically, if you have multiple crews, like Service Titan and House Call Pro. But apps, there's a few like Company Cam and Jobber, where they focus, even though you can work on them, they want you to basically do all the work, and they'll handle all the, we'll send an update text. And what do we say? You will never beat a company with an office manager, an internal personable person that you can call, get a hold of to answer some questions, than just to have an AI or a CRM do all the work for you. But we see a lot of people struggle when it comes to the platform. Why do they struggle? Because they don't understand how to teach their office managers or expect or know what they have to do. Even Michael Stellman talked about it when he hired an organizer just to clean everything up. Remember? It's a completely another world. We don't understand how those things work. So we developed our own beta version of our AI agent, and it's called, and we have a few out there. It's Contractor AI. There's others that are Builder AI. It's all the same one. We just took all the domain spaces just so we can make sure that we keep it for the future, just in case one does better on SEO searches and you name it. But basically, everything that we are going to be going over today when it comes to module 1, startup cost, module 2, profit and pricing margins, all these things on how to manage your expenses. Just like Profit First, all our lesson plans, all our workbooks, it's all broken down into this AI platform. Remember, just like all our other courses where we have the blueprint to understanding cost, the blueprint to understanding price, the blueprint to understanding profit margins, all of those lessons with hard skill, soft skill, self-development, leadership is all on this one app. And it's all for you guys to test out. Once again, it's on our school page. Type in AI and I'll take you to the link. And then you can now use it. So I'm going to give you a small experience, a taste of what it has to offer, so you guys can now apply it into your business right off the bat. Basically, with this AI agent, you no longer need Jobber. You no longer need Service Titan. You no longer need House Call Pro. You don't even need an office manager, because this is going to not only do the work for you, but it's also going to teach you. So if you do decide to hire an office manager, you can now show them this app, this beta version, and it'll teach them what to do. For example, This week on Instagram Live, we were talking about how do you price for a job rather than focusing solely on time. Because everybody says, don't charge by the hour. Don't charge by this. Don't charge by time. And what do we see? Everybody goes, well, this job's gonna take me roughly around 2 days, so I just want $1,000 a day, so $2,000 minimum. You're basing it on time. And then other individuals recognize, oh, well, you gotta show your experience, you gotta show your value, you gotta sell the service that comes with it, you gotta instruct, teach the customer, show them that you know what you're doing, and then explain, hey, this is a white glove service, this is why this is our rate. But what do we see? Individuals who start business try to compete and price the same as the big guys, and then the big guys smoke them, and then they blame the system when they never made themselves or gave themselves an opportunity to be a competition. You want all the benefits of a big company without providing the services, the value, or the experience of a big company. I dare you, tell me Mike Stellman showing up to a job walk over here in just his sweats, like it's some solar guys. How do we show up to the job site? They're over here wearing skinny jeans and Crocs on a roof. To this day, I never saw. Andrew, what do you do if you see your guys dressed like that? That, to me, is the biggest slap in the face. Imagine a customer paying for a $30,000 system on their house, and you have a whole bunch of guys wearing sweats and Crocs on your roof. You can't take them serious. So
yeah, I see it as disrespectful and definitely not someone I want to hire.
You see? Imagine that. You bring a whole bunch of guys, now they're cursing because, hey, that's a construction culture. What do people say? You gotta love me for who I am. All right, so this dude is cursing with my kids here in the house. They're cursing, joking around, having fun. Yeah, I'm just supposed to respect that person on my roof, just cursing, looking like a slob, and then say, hey, lady, that's what it is. This is how much I'm worth. What will you guys say if someone comes to your house? Michael Stellman is over here cracking on his own guys when they work at his house. Remember, someone, when you're showing me your basement, when like, oh, this is what we did. Oh, I gotta freaking fix this. He's doing that in his own house. So Stellman, tell me, if someone shows up to your house acting like that, talking like that in front of your family, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna say?
No, they're out.
There you go. And now,
To be honest, there's a lot of that in New York City.
I believe it. I believe it. And now imagine the type of customers you have.
Yep.
So here's the thing. Everybody, there you go. So think about it. Everybody wants to equate and say, I'm worth it. You can always say you're worth it. True or not, Stellman? Any new licensed electrician can probably find a service call in New York City and charge to $500 like you said, right?
Easily, yeah. There's just so much of it.
Yep, but here's the thing. Will they get a call back if they are the sloppy type of guys?
No.
There you go.
We're not.
So you can always get a job, that's fine, but you always have the headache of finding a new customer because you can't maintain that value. Remember, market dictates your value. So the value of New York City is $500 an hour. Market doesn't dictate your price, it dictates your value. If you as a contractor dictate your price and you say, okay, I want to price for $500 an hour, you can work in New York City. Market dictates your value. So New York City is $500 an hour service calls. But if you don't have value, how long are you going to last, Mike? You're going to jump around.
Not at all. Not long at all.
That's the understanding we need to have as contractors, and it reflected in our prices and experiences that you can provide. You're right. If you're a licensed contractor, licensed and insured, you have all the right to charge $500. You are. You do. I don't take that away from nobody. But if you think you're the hottest piece of shit out there, and that you can show up and people have to now bend to you because guess what? Everyone should be loved equally. Guess what? They're just not going to call you. Like, it's black and white in that aspect. That's what we have to focus on. And guess what? A lot of that comes with, hey, we have to wear too many different hats throughout the day. We can't be answering calls, we can't do the physical work, and we can't do the admin side of things and be efficient during the day. These guys, if they have a question, they want an answer. It's not, okay, cool, I'm getting off at 6, I'll send you an email at 8, and then the next morning they have a problem with you. These guys want a dedicated on staff, call me, tell me what's up, hey, here's our dedicated rep. If anything happens, we're gonna update you. If you show up like slobs, if you start breaking things, if you start smoking, Mike, imagine someone in New York City and your guys come in here smelling like freaking cigarettes or weed. I was on a job where the GC, the building attendant didn't allow us in the complex. When I first started, when I was in the union, he was like, nah, you're not gonna smell like weed in our building.
Right.
Do they do that with you? Have you seen that type of stuff?
Yeah, well, I don't really hire anyone that smokes weed, but
Yeah.
I've seen guys get denied, like plumbers and stuff.
Yeah. So what we're trying to say is, well, that's awesome that you lead like that, but it's out there. There's people who will stand on their values. You know what I mean? And if you as a contractor come in saying, this is my value, this is how much I'm charging, but you look like that, smell like that, talk like that, they have the right to say no. What do you guys think?
I agree.
How about you, Andrew, Anthony, Nathan? How does all of this make sense to you guys?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Perfect. I appreciate you guys. And remember, if you guys have any questions, feel free to jump in. So this app, let's bring it back now to finances. So this app is going to be that value for you. This app is going to help you understand everything that you need to do as a contractor. So let's start off with module 1, startup cost. It's a one-time cost, burn rate, it's monthly recurring overhead, fixed versus variable expenses, memberships, training versus, hey, this material for this one job costs this one, we can pay that off. We have to understand what our margins are. So let's say I'm a new electrical contractor. I'm a new electrical contractor. I want to know my numbers. I want to do a 200 amp service upgrade, and I'm getting so many different numbers for prices. What should I charge? So this app that you guys all have access to, it's completely for free for our B.U.L.D association members. You ask it. Remember, we're talking about startups. We're talking about companies who are already been established. We're going to give you the tools so you can refine your tools. So let's ask it. What's it going to say? You're in the right place and you're asking the exact question every contractor needs to ask up front. What should I charge and why? Remember, what do we typically see? How much should I charge? $2,500 over here on the East Coast, minimum in Connecticut. True or not, Andrew? And then you got guys in California saying $7,000. That's a lot of space in between. Who do you listen to? So we're gonna update all this information because this is all gonna be, it's gonna develop an invoice for you. So what's your email? What trade are you in? And what are we solving for today? So now it goes into here. It's gonna teach you on what other, basically it gives you the lesson. So remember what we broke down in the previous month: hard skills, soft skills, self-development. Those are the 3 functions of a contractor. If you focus on those 3 avenues, you will be successful. I promise you, you will be successful. You can do the work, you can have someone do the office stuff, and as long as the leader is in charge of self-development, you guys will be an amazing, unstoppable force. So what is this going to tell you? It's going to tell you and break down what's the scope of work involved. That's the hard skill. How to communicate that with the customer to invoice appropriately. Also, it'll teach your office manager how to give this estimate focusing on value rather than time, because it's going to tell you how long the job takes. But if you just put an hourly rate to the total, you're just paying by the hour. And we said, right? Contractors say not to charge by time. So this will tell you what your expenses are, your operating costs are, your way of explaining the value, because market dictates your value, to the customer so that they can say yes every time. So what are we going to do? We're going to break down your actual costs. We're going to break down your target profit margins, just like profit first, your market and value. Remember, market dictates value. California services are different from East Coast services. And where can you find this? in our class that we taught on Instagram Live, our class that's also, what's this, Blueprint to Cost? Where can you find that class? Our Blueprint to Cost. Remember it? So if you go here, we have two of them, right? So we have calculate the cost for businesses, right? We also have understanding cost. Once again, all of these courses that we have, that we made a video on, and I'll have all the graphics, the PDFs, everything that you're gonna need. Remember here, remember costs, the breakdown, remember all our videos, everything that we've been doing from day one, guys, is all found on this AI agent. So it tells you where to get the lesson plan, because what do we see people with Google? They just want to know how much to charge so they can give an estimate. We understand sometimes you got to be quick to send out an estimate. The person's waiting for it on the spot. So this will give you the answers that you're looking for. But we want to build builders and we want to build leaders. So it's going to say we use the blueprints to cost to understand everything. So we're going to give you the answer, but we want to make sure you take these classes in the background. So guess what? You don't have to just keep using the app every time. So you can train your office manager, or you can train your project manager on how to appropriately bid, estimate, price out jobs without you having to be there. And now you got this tool for them to do it, everything. So it's going to explain your cost, your target profit margin, and the realities of your market and the value that you're going to offer. Remember, we want to price according to your market, just like Stillman in New York City, $500 minimum, but then at the same time, your value. Mike has his team, Mike has his office team. Someone's going to answer the phone every time you call. If you're calling Mike and if he doesn't pick up, it forwards over to his office manager, and then he bounces you back. That's value. You're always going to get human. Jobber ain't going to do that. House Call Pro ain't going to do that. I think ServiceTitan has a plan for that, but you got to pay another $5,000 a month for that. This is going to let you train your own team to understand your finances. So here's a step-by-step formula for your 200 amp rate. Direct cost, labor, material. Bang, bang, bang. What did we say for module 1? We're going over startup cost, understanding startup cost. What are burn rate? What's your daily operating cost? Labor, boom, boom, boom. If you're solo, boom, boom, boom. If you have a helper, boom, boom, boom. Direct cost, boom. So you know your direct cost when it comes to material, direct cost when it comes to labor. Overhead, remember everyone's different. You have to put your own percentage when it comes to overhead. This is just giving you rough examples of what those are. Remember, it's teaching you these costs. So when we go into modular 2, when we start talking about pricing and margins, it's all here. What is price? What are margins? Gross versus net. Markup versus margins. Pricing built for labor, tools, materials, and we have to understand all of these different things. And this is what this entire app, beta version, this is our agent. We're building out an app, so I apologize. This is our agent, our chat agent that we're building up, we're tweaking, so that we can build an app with all the information that we download from here. Add your profit margins, boom. Quick rule of thumb, most contractors doing this right are charging $2,000 and $3,000 for 200 amp pump. Permit processing, overhead, these are all the variables. You want to build a pricing sheet calculator, boom, 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 and it'll tell you, hey, we got to create a pricing sheet, or would you like me to calculate your monthly burn rate? All of these things are available to you as a B.U.L.D association member. So let's say I want to sell this to my customer. How should I phrase this on value other than time? So remember, what did we talk about this week? Time for money thinking, value driven, just like we talked about on Tuesday's Instagram Live. Remember what we talked about? So when you talk to a customer, it'll take about a day and cost around $3,000. Here's the script. So once again, you can teach your office manager what to say, and they're gonna go with the plan. Bang. Remember our builder's traits. Do you guys remember where we saw that? Remember this? Do you guys remember this? Our builder's traits? Want to focus on character, trust, vision, work ethic? Guess what? What did I say? Evaluate yourself. Evaluate your team. That's also to bring it to your customers. If you want to elevate trust even more, so we want to bump up our trust with our customers, sell character and vision, or basically this is our values. So we want to sell that to our customers. So how is an example of doing that? You can always find someone cheaper, but we don't cut corners. We build it once, we build it right, and make sure your investment is protected. That works long-term reliability looks like. So basically, you're now building trust with your customers. So everything that we have been doing with you guys for the last 5 to 6 months, the 5 to 6 months of videos that we've been doing, everything that we've been recording has been intentional for each one of you guys to have these tools and resources to be successful. Once again, we're focusing and recapping everything that we did the last 5 months because all of this establishes value for you as the contractor so that you can price and budget and bid appropriately with the right tools to teach you about your finances. Does any of you guys have questions about this?
That's pretty much what I'm charging for like a standard. I charge 35, so it's pretty close to what I'm charging. So
yep, perfect. So this is just examples, you know, of what's going around. Because what did we say? Do you guys remember? Let me see if the camera. Oop, I'm going to switch back to me. Perfect. Can you guys see me, or is it messed up?
no, we see it.
Perfect. Do you guys happen to remember what we did on the Instagram live this week? Mike, do you happen to remember? I know you were on for a part, but true enough.
I was on and I passed out because I traveled that day.
Perfect. No worries. Oh yeah, you just came from like North Carolina. That's right.
Yeah, it was up from 4 in the morning.
So, do you guys remember what we talked about? We said, true or not, all contractors roughly are in the same ballpark range. It's usually 10 to 15% off. Why? Because we all have the same expenditures. We all pay the same insurance rates, right? We're saving what? $50 maybe from one, but as an overall overhead, we're all in the same ballpark. We're all paying someone 20 to 40 bucks, true or not?
Yes.
We all have internet, we all have phones, we all have insurance. Our overheads are pretty much all the same. It's all similar. So when it comes to pricing, we gotta understand more on the value sense and understand more of what's going on as a business, as a functioning, as pricing, as office work. That is what's really gonna now make us compete with these other companies. Because if you're focusing on time, you know, as experience or time on the job site, you will move or lower your prices and your guys still are going to be on site 8 to 10 hours doing a service upgrade, true or not? So that's just hurting you at the end of the day and your bottom line. So we have to focus on the value side of things rather than the physical work side of things. It goes back to that mindset shift. That's why we started off the beginning asking you guys, what's your mindset on these types of questions? What are your mindset when it comes to business? Because guess what? A service upgrade is going to take 6, 8, 10 hours a day, right? If you are by yourself, if you're with 2 guys, you can do it probably in 6 hours a day, right? It's still a full day's worth of work. So if your pricing is lower than the next guy and you're still there for 6 to 10 hours a day, we already paying everybody around the same rate of $20 to $40 an hour. You will lose money. So when you price based off time and then you lower your prices, the only way you can make more money is if you lower the time you are on the field. But the physical hard skill is going to make you stay there the same amount of time as everybody else. True or not?
That's true.
It's just like when you're driving on the highway. And I know Stillman does a lot of driving. Stillman, do you take the tolls or do you go on the back roads?
I go right to the toll.
Why?
Time is money.
Boom. So you have to recognize the aspect of time has to completely be eliminated from the proposition you're trying to give. Now, once again, I have a lot of controversial videos where I say, hey, you can lower your price, and it's true, you can. But do I say, is that a pattern you should continue? Absolutely not. But if you want to have a competitive edge, if you want to get an opportunity that somebody else may not have, you can leverage that for long-term success, not as a habit, if that makes sense. So if you're paying a toll to get somewhere quicker, that's exactly what you're paying for. The convenience, the experience. Whenever we're driving to Houston tomorrow, we're going to be on the road for 24 hours. Well, I'm trying to have my guys on the road. I'm not going to drive. My guys are going to be on the road for 24 hours. I told them, take the toll roads. Why? Because if that van breaks down with all those vehicles, true or not, it's easier to get to you on a toll road to pull off at the next exit or to get AAA to get us on the toll road than on the back roads of some middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania. True or not, Mike?
Very true. I was going to say the term would be West Coast Club.
Yeah, right? But that's the mindset shift. But guess what? When we were all younger, right? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, all the way up to 25, and we're hanging out with our boys and we're strapped for cash. Every time we hit the GPS, what do we always say? Avoid tolls, right?
Avoid tolls.
There you go.
I didn't have GPS when I was still out.
Oh yeah, you use that. My mom used to do that. What is the site she used to use in New York City?
MapQuest.
MapQuest. Yeah, bro.
Or the Atlas.
There you go. There you go. Yep.
Or the TomTom.
That's funny, man.
Remember that?
Good stuff. I remember when those first came out, people were breaking into people's cars. Remember? They would break into someone's car for the GPS, dude. That was a hot topic. Yeah, you left that thing right on the dash with that little sandbag holding it down. You left that on the dash, or you left it stuck to your mirror. It was gone by the time you got back to your car. Woo! Good time. But why does that change? Because you recognize time and the convenience and the experience is more valuable, right? If you need a coffee break, guess what? There's a service stop in the next 15 minutes, and it's 15 miles. I'd rather stay there than have to look locally. You ever been there on the back roads and your gas is like about to be empty and you're dying for a gas station? Guess what? That's because you went in the back roads, typically. You know, if you stayed on the interstate, at least you know in 15 minutes I can hit another gas station. Yes, it's more expensive, but the convenience is there. The same when it comes to your finances. So, when we go back onto the lesson plan, I want you to start applying these things. Does this stuff make sense to you guys? Does this stuff make sense? I want to hear from you guys now because we pretty much explained everything of what this app is going to do when it comes to your finances. We also gave you the tools of the Profit First book, who will change the mindset that you have. And then it'll give you, the tools and resources for you to reach out to the financial planners, the financial business accountants to actually set this up in your own company. Because, as much as I love finances, as much as I love numbers and moving numbers around and explaining it, I'm not a tax professional. So you want to make sure you have these guys who actually help you. But as a contractor, we want to make sure you have the tools, the resources, and which direction I point you guys to understand these things. Does this stuff make sense to you? Do you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns?
No, put it to the test later.
Please, please. And remember, this AI, it only gets better with your guys' feedback, you know? So if you gotta tweak it up, you let me know, I submit it, I gotta code it, and then we put this code into it, and then boom, it tells us. And then it updates everything. But all of these lesson plans, everything that it's generating these answers for you guys is based off of the courses that you guys already have access to. You understand? So we have already 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, today, 14, after today, 14 classes we're gonna have on our masterclass. And do you guys remember when was our first class? For guys who've been following for a while, like Andrew, do you remember when our first masterclass was?
Was it back in, I think I joined in November. Was it November, December?
So in November, you jumped in. We did the business blueprint in December, remember?
Yeah.
So basically, in the last 6 months, we have 14 classes. We have 14 videos, all recorded, workbooks. Remember, full PDF workbooks for you guys, for you to follow along. For every lesson, there's a video. For every lesson, there's an entire workbook. You're not gonna find this anywhere else. Everything that we've developed in the last 6 months alone together, we've created 14 videos. And remember, with every course, there's a video and there's a full workbook. Remember what we downloaded for everybody, all at your resources. We applied all the courses, all the PDFs that we've tailored for you guys, tailored for each and every one of you guys. We now develop that into our app, our agent, so that you guys have everything that you need. Everything that we go over in the lesson plan, we develop it. All of this stuff, tailored, all the books, lessons that we talked about, remember? Everything that you will need is here. And the simple fact that we have an AI agent now, based off of the fundamentals of everything that we taught in the last 6 months, and it's up and running. And then, just like Anthony said, wow, that's $200 because I charge $3.5 for my services. That's a pretty close margin. You understand that, guys? That's pretty impressive. So whatever you guys have, questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out. Feel free to check if we already have a video on it. If we don't have a video on it, we will make one and make a whole class and create a whole workbook just for you in every single thing. Remember, communicate, communicate, communicate. Why do we make those videos? Why do we make those classes? So we can understand how to communicate with the customer, just like what we see here. Based off of values, not time, awesome. So we broke that down into these videos, into these courses, so that you guys can have the tools to bid your job, and you know at every turn, every estimate, every communication that you have with that customer is going to be a professional form of communication. It's going to be based on values. It's going to be based on character, trust, work ethic, vision, and skill set. It's not going to be showing up to the job site in skinny jeans and Crocs. It's not going to be showing up to a job site or giving a job site smelling like weed saying, this is what I'm worth, take it or leave it. Remember, everything here is to build builders, is to build leaders, and it's tailored to you guys. The more information you give the AI agent, the more information you guys are going to be able to tailor it to your own personality and your company culture. Sounds good? Do any of you guys have a question, comments, or concerns that you want me to ask this AI agent so we can test it out together more? Or do you guys want to have that as a little homework project for yourselves? Because
I'm going to do the homework. What I'm going to try to do is, one of my biggest pain points is ask it to make me an Excel sheet to track project, stuff, but I'm going to give that a shot later.
yeah.
spent money on jobs that take longer than a week.
Bro, I've been there. But look at what we already have for you, bro.
Yep. I muted myself.
There you go. Look.
Yeah. Cool.
How do you want it? Excel? Do you want it a Google Sheet, or do you want a PDF? Bang, done.
Right.
And now all you have to do is give it its numbers based off of that project. But that all comes down to systems and efficiency, right? SOPs. Your SOPs is your operation, your instructions. Your QC is to make sure it happens, and then your spreadsheet is to it actually tells you has it been done or not.
Right.
Right? It's the data collection side of things. And then it gives you the entire report. This gives you all of that already. Everything that we've been doing. Everything I use on HubSpot, it's the same thing, tracking. Right now on the marketing side, we're trying to track everything. Right now we're straight, it's all data. I'm a data-driven guy. Everything we're doing, every post we make, we download the analytics, and I'd say, what's the keywords here? Why did this video do better? Well, try this out. If you notice, a lot of our videos now I'm testing out are pretty much the same, but we're tweaking words around. You notice that? So look.
Yes, I did.
A lot of my videos, that's all I'm doing, bro. All we do is download the analytics, bro. Look. Change number 3. All we're doing things, where is it? You see, saves, interactions, 71%. Bro, everything is data driven. Everything that we do, you see? Everything. Bang. That's what your Excel is gonna do. So when you start talking about getting all that into Excel, you're speaking my language. Because right now I don't do no more emotion stuff. I don't do, hey bro, give me a good price, I take care of you. Everything right now is numbers for me. Right now is numbers. Personality, character, all that's, bro, I am the most plain dude. I'll eat cheese and milk and just cheese slices for that. I don't need no pepperoni anymore. I'm tired of all that extra flavor stuff. Right now is data. So you guys got to keep it up. You guys got to keep it up. I'm proud of each and every one of you, and especially taking time out of your Saturday for this stuff really means a lot. So if you guys have any other more questions, comments, concerns, feel free to let me know. I'll have this video up, also polished and cleaned up for you guys, so it's on the lesson plan as well as the link to the AI, as well as today's PDF again, and worksheet questions that you guys may have. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys have any other questions, anything you want to practice or do as a one-on-one, or if you guys want to do something in private, feel free to call me. I'm going to be in the office for the rest of the afternoon. We are getting ready to head out to Houston. So I got another exciting announcement.